Before the world even finishes carving pumpkins or counting down Thanksgiving leftovers, something extraordinary already begins in the Philippines. It starts quietly. One radio jingle, one mall decoration, one neighbor humming a familiar tune. Then suddenly it's everywhere. Christmas doesn't arrive in December here. It moves in as early as September, unpacking joy, anticipation, and nostalgia long before the year is ready to let go. Streets glow with lanterns, homes echo with laughter, and even strangers share a warmth that feels inherited, not learned. While much of the world treats Christmas as a date on the calendar, Filipinos treat it as a season of the heart. And that's where the question begins to form: why does Christmas feel different here? Why does it feel longer, louder, warmer, and somehow more human? To understand that, you don't look at traditions alone. You look at how Filipinos live Christmas, breathe it, and carry it like a shared memory passed down through generations. One of the first things you'll notice is how Filipinos prepare for Christmas, not just with decorations, but with endurance. Long before the big day, before the gifts and feasts, people wake up while the sky is still dark to attend Simbang Gabi, 9 consecutive dawn masses that test devotion and discipline. Streets are quiet except for footsteps, whispered greetings, and the soft glow of church lights. Inside, the air smells of candle wax and incense, mixed with something deeper: hope. For many Filipinos, this ritual isn't about obligation. It's about faith, sacrifice, and the belief that showing up consistently, even when tired, invites blessings. After Mass, the reward isn't material wealth, but warmed by bingka and puto bumbong, shared with family or strangers. It's a reminder that Christmas joy isn't rushed. It's earned slowly, one early morning at a time. Then there's the music. Oh, the music. In the Philippines, Christmas songs aren't background noise. They're emotional triggers. The moment the first note of Ang Pasko ay Sumapit or Himiging Pasko plays, something stirs inside. Filipinos don't just listen to Christmas songs, they feel them. These melodies speak of homecomings, missed loved ones, childhood memories, and quiet prayers. Karaoke machines come alive, voices crack with emotion, and nobody cares if you sing off-key. Because here, singing isn't about performance, it's about connection. Even overseas Filipino workers, thousands of miles away, feel instantly transported home when these songs play. In no other place does music act so powerfully as a bridge between past and present, distance and belonging. Christmas in the Philippines is sung loudly because it carries stories that words alone can't express. Walk through any Filipino neighborhood in December, and you'll notice doors that rarely close. Christmas here is not private, it's communal. Neighbors drop by unannounced, relatives arrive in waves, and suddenly the house feels smaller but the heart feels fuller. Filipinos don't measure celebration by exclusivity, they measure it by how many people can fit around the table. There's always room for one more plate, one more chair, one more story. This openness comes from a deeply rooted value, pakikasama, the idea that harmony and togetherness matter more than convenience. During Christmas, that value becomes visible. Differences are set aside, grudges soften, and reconciliation feels possible. It's not perfect, but it's sincere. Christmas becomes a shared pause, where everyone, rich or poor, family or friend, belongs. And then comes the food, an unmistakable centerpiece of Filipino Christmas. The kitchen transforms into a battlefield of love, patience, and tradition. Recipes passed down through generations come alive. Lechon, hamon, queso de bola, pancit, fruit salad drowning in cream and nostalgia. But what makes Filipino Christmas food special isn't just taste, it's intention. Each dish carries meaning. Pancit symbolizes long life. Round fruits invite prosperity. Even leftovers are cherished, reheated, and shared again the next day. Cooking isn't rushed, it's collaborative. Aunties argue over seasoning, uncles sneak tastes, children wait impatiently. The food becomes a physical representation of effort, sacrifice, and care. In many homes, the Christmas table reflects the year's struggles and triumphs. No matter how hard life has been, Filipinos believe that on Christmas, the table must be full. One uniquely Filipino Christmas habit that surprises many outsiders is how children become messengers of joy. Groups of kids roam neighborhoods singing carols, armed with makeshift instruments, tin cans, bottle caps, improvised tambourines. Their voices may be shaky, but their enthusiasm is unstoppable. They sing not for fame, not even really for money, but for participation in something bigger than themselves. When homeowners hand them coins, snacks, or even just applause, it reinforces a lesson learned early. Joy multiplies when shared. This tradition teaches confidence, community, and generosity. And years later, those same children grow up, remembering the laughter, the late nights, the thrill of knocking on doors. Christmas becomes cyclical. What you experienced as a child, you now pass on. In this way, the spirit of Christmas stays young, no matter how old the country gets. Gift-giving in the Philippines carries a different emotional weight. It's not about luxury, it's about thoughtfulness. Filipinos are masters of meaningful simplicity. A carefully wrapped towel, a box of chocolates, or a handwritten note can carry more impact than something expensive. What matters is the gesture, the acknowledgement, the effort. Many families exchange gifts with themes and budgets, turning limitation into creativity. Laughter erupts as gifts are opened, jokes fly, and nobody pretends the rules don't exist. Yet beneath the fun is something deeper: fairness, inclusion, and shared experience. Christmas gifts become symbols of equality. Everyone gets something. Everyone feels seen. In a country where many live modestly, this tradition ensures that no one feels forgotten during the season meant to celebrate love. Another thing only Filipinos seem to master is turning waiting into celebration. On Christmas Eve, families stay awake together, counting down to Noche Buena. Midnight doesn't signal bedtime, it signals togetherness. The table is prepared hours in advance, yet nobody eats early. There's anticipation in the air, conversations stretching late into the night. Children fight sleep, elders reminisce, laughter flows freely. When midnight finally arrives, it feels ceremonial. Eating together at that exact moment transforms a simple meal into a shared victory. Another year survived, another Christmas reached. In a world obsessed with speed, Filipinos pause deliberately. They wait, not impatiently but joyfully. Noche Buena becomes proof that the best moments aren't rushed, they're awaited. For Filipinos living abroad, Christmas becomes even more emotional. Distance sharpens memory. Homesickness grows louder. Yet instead of dampening the season, it intensifies it. Overseas workers decorate small apartments, cook Filipino dishes with substituted ingredients, and gather with fellow Filipinos who become temporary family. Video calls replace physical presence, but the connection remains powerful. Tears are common, but so is resilience. Christmas becomes a reminder of why sacrifices were made: to provide, to hope, to return someday. This ability to celebrate despite absence reflects a deeply Filipino strength, finding light even when conditions aren't ideal. Wherever Filipinos are in the world, Christmas follows them, not as a place, but as a feeling they carry within. So when people ask why Filipinos seem to have the happiest Christmas, the answer isn't found in decorations or duration alone. It's found in values lived loudly. Faith that wakes you early, music that carries memory, food cooked with love, generosity without excess, and community without walls. Christmas in the Philippines isn't perfect, but it's profoundly human. It embraces flaws, welcomes noise, and makes room for everyone. And perhaps that's the secret. In a world where holidays are increasingly commercialized and rushed, Filipinos choose to slow down, open up, and celebrate together. Christmas becomes not an escape from reality, but a reminder of what truly matters. And that's why, year after year, the Filipino Christmas continues to shine brighter than the lights that decorate it. Another unmistakable part of a Filipino Christmas is how forgiveness quietly becomes a tradition of its own. As the year draws to a close, many Filipinos feel an unspoken need to make things right. Old misunderstandings resurface, not to reopen wounds, but to finally heal them. A simple message, a visit long postponed, or a shared meal becomes a bridge back to one another. Pride softens in December. Apologies come easier. There's a collective understanding that carrying resentment into the new year feels heavier than letting it go. This emotional reset isn't announced or scheduled. It happens naturally, influenced by faith, family, and the desire for peace. Christmas becomes a deadline for reconciliation, a gentle reminder that relationships matter more than being right. In many homes, the most meaningful gift exchanged isn't wrapped, it's forgiveness finally given. Filipinos also have a unique way of turning hardship into gratitude during Christmas. Even families who struggled all year find a way to celebrate, not because they ignore reality, but because they refuse to let it define them. A small meal becomes special. A borrowed decoration feels meaningful. Children are taught early that joy isn't dependent on abundance. This mindset creates resilience. Christmas becomes an act of defiance against despair, a declaration that no matter how tough life gets, hope still deserves a seat at the table. You see it in modest homes glowing with simple lights, in parents smiling despite exhaustion, in children laughing without knowing the cost. In the Philippines, Christmas doesn't erase poverty, but it softens its weight. It reminds people that dignity, love, and happiness aren't luxuries. They're choices reaffirmed every December. There is also something uniquely Filipino about how laughter fills the air during Christmas gatherings. Jokes are repeated, stories exaggerated, embarrassing childhood memories retold with dramatic flair. Humor becomes a survival language, a way of bonding across generations. Elders tease the young, cousins roast each other mercilessly, and nobody escapes playful criticism. Yet beneath the humor is affection. It's how Filipinos express closeness without needing grand gestures. Christmas amplifies this natural warmth. Even problems become punchlines, reminding everyone not to take life too seriously. In a country often hit by storms, setbacks, and uncertainty, laughter becomes emotional armor. During Christmas, it's louder, freer, and shared without restraint. It turns crowded rooms into safe spaces where people can be fully themselves. For Filipinos, a Christmas without laughter would feel incomplete. One thing that often surprises outsiders is how Filipinos involve everyone, especially elders, in Christmas celebrations. Grandparents aren't sidelined, they're central. They lead prayers, tell stories of past Christmases, and remind everyone how traditions began. Their presence grounds the celebration, linking generations together. Children sit beside them, listening to tales of simpler times, learning values through storytelling rather than instruction. This respect for elders, pagaling, isn't performative during Christmas, it's lived. The holiday becomes a moment where age isn't a barrier but a bridge. The wisdom of the past blends with the energy of the present, creating continuity. In many Filipino homes, Christmas isn't complete until the elders have spoken, eaten, and smiled. It's a reminder that joy is richer when shared across time, not just among peers. Filipinos also have a remarkable way of making public spaces feel personal during Christmas. Malls turn into gathering places, not just shopping centers. Churches overflow. Streets buzz with activity late into the night. Christmas lights don't just decorate, they invite. Even jeepneys, tricycles, and buses join the celebration, adorned with tinsel and blinking lights. Strangers exchange smiles, greetings come easily, and small talk feels natural. There's a collective understanding that December is a shared experience. In many countries, public spaces feel anonymous. In the Philippines, Christmas transforms them into extensions of home. This sense of belonging doesn't require familiarity, only participation. For a few weeks each year, the boundaries between private and public blur, and everyone becomes part of the same celebration. Another deeply Filipino Christmas habit is how faith and festivity coexist effortlessly. Prayer doesn't compete with celebration, it enhances it. Families pray together before meals, attend Mass together, and then laugh together over food and stories. There's no contradiction in being solemn one moment and joyful the next. This balance reflects a cultural understanding that life itself is a mix of reverence and resilience. Christmas becomes a time when faith feels accessible, not distant. It's practiced in kitchens, living rooms, and conversations, not just in churches. For many Filipinos, belief isn't abstract, it's woven into daily life. During Christmas, this faith becomes visible, grounding joy and gratitude and reminding people that celebration and spirituality can coexist without conflict. Filipinos also treat time differently during Christmas. Schedules loosen, conversations stretch, meals last longer. The rush of daily life slows, just enough to let moments breathe. This isn't laziness, it's intentional presence. People choose connection over productivity, memories over efficiency. In a world obsessed with speed, this slowdown feels almost rebellious. Christmas becomes a pause button, allowing families to catch up on stories missed throughout the year. Phones are set aside, at least temporarily, and attention turns inward. These unhurried moments often become the most remembered, not the gifts, but the talks that lasted past midnight. Filipinos understand that time spent together is the most irreplaceable currency of all. There's also something uniquely Filipino about how children are at the center of Christmas joy. Adults go out of their way to protect their excitement, their belief in magic, their anticipation. Even when resources are limited, parents find ways to make Christmas feel special for them. Simple games, handmade decorations, and shared traditions become sources of wonder. Children aren't rushed into adulthood during Christmas, they're allowed to be kids a little longer. This focus on childhood happiness reflects a broader cultural value, hope for the future. By nurturing joy in the young, Filipinos reinforce optimism not just for the season, but for life beyond it. One often overlooked aspect of Filipino Christmas is how memory plays a central role. People don't just celebrate the present, they carry the past with them. Photos are taken not just to post, but to preserve. Stories of relatives who are no longer around are shared with tenderness. Empty chairs are acknowledged, not avoided. There's sadness, yes, but also gratitude. Christmas becomes a time to honor those who shaped the family, even if they're no longer physically present. This emotional honesty adds depth to the celebration. It reminds everyone that love doesn't end with absence. It transforms. Filipino Christmas allows space for both joy and longing to exist side by side. By this point, it becomes clear that Filipino Christmas traditions aren't about perfection, they're about participation. You don't need the best decorations, the biggest house, or the most money. You just need to show up. Sing, eat, laugh, forgive, remember. Christmas becomes a collective effort, sustained by shared values rather than material excess. And that's why it feels so alive. It isn't curated, it's lived. Each person contributes something, no matter how small. A smile, a dish, a story, a song. Together, these pieces form a celebration that feels bigger than any one household. Filipino Christmas thrives not because it's flawless, but because it's inclusive. Everyone belongs. Another quiet but powerful thing Filipinos do during Christmas is how they honor effort, not outcome. It doesn't matter if the house is small, the food is simple, or the decorations are reused from years past. What matters is that everyone tried. Parents who worked overtime, siblings who contributed what little they had, relatives who traveled long distances, all of that effort is recognized and appreciated. Christmas becomes a collective achievement. Surviving the year itself feels like something worth celebrating. In many Filipino homes, there's an unspoken understanding that showing up, despite exhaustion or hardship, is already enough. This mindset removes pressure and replaces it with gratitude. Christmas isn't about impressing anyone, it's about acknowledging resilience. And that recognition alone makes the celebration meaningful. Filipinos also have a deeply emotional relationship with homecomings during Christmas. Airports fill with tears, long hugs, and silent gratitude. For families separated by work, distance, or circumstance, Christmas becomes the most powerful motivation to return, even briefly. When someone walks through the door after months or years away, time seems to pause. Conversations pick up where they left off. No explanation is needed. That moment alone justifies every sacrifice made throughout the year. Christmas transforms a simple arrival into a sacred event. And even when returning home isn't possible, the longing itself becomes part of the celebration. Filipinos understand that home isn't just a place, it's the people waiting for you. Christmas magnifies that truth. One thing that truly sets Filipinos apart during Christmas is how kindness becomes instinctive. Acts of generosity increase, often without announcement or recognition. Food is shared with neighbors, donations are made quietly, and help is offered without being asked. Many believe that blessings are meant to be passed on, especially during this season. This generosity isn't driven by excess, it's driven by empathy. Having experienced hardship themselves, many Filipinos understand the value of small kindnesses. Christmas becomes a reminder that even the smallest act can lighten someone's burden. In this way, generosity becomes contagious. One good deed inspires another, creating a ripple effect that extends far beyond December. There is also something deeply Filipino about how rituals evolve but never disappear. Traditions adapt to modern life, messages replace handwritten cards, video calls replace physical gatherings, but the intention remains the same. Connection, togetherness, meaning. Christmas doesn't resist change, it absorbs it. Filipinos carry their traditions wherever they go, reshaping them without losing their essence. This flexibility allows Christmas to remain relevant across generations. Young people reinterpret old customs, elders adjust expectations, and somewhere in between, the spirit survives. This ability to adapt without forgetting is one of the reasons Filipino Christmas endures. It's not frozen in time, it grows alongside the people who celebrate it. Filipinos also have a unique way of welcoming outsiders into their Christmas. Friends, co-workers, and even strangers are invited to join celebrations without hesitation. There's no requirement to belong beforehand. You belong because you're invited. This openness often surprises people from cultures where holidays are more private. But for Filipinos, joy multiplies when shared. Christmas becomes an opportunity to expand the circle, not protect it. Many foreigners who experience a Filipino Christmas for the first time describe it as overwhelming in the best way. The warmth, generosity, and sincerity feel unforgettable. And often, they carry that memory with them long after December ends. As Christmas Day passes, Filipinos don't rush to move on. The celebration lingers. Conversations continue, leftovers are shared, and visits extend for days. The holiday doesn't end abruptly, it fades slowly, like a song replayed one last time. This lingering reflects a deeper cultural habit, savoring moments instead of consuming them quickly. Christmas is allowed to settle into memory naturally. There's no urgency to pack it away. Filipinos understand that joy doesn't need to be efficient, it needs to be felt. By stretching the celebration, they give themselves permission to hold on to happiness just a little longer. Even the end of the year itself carries special meaning. Christmas leads seamlessly into reflection, preparing hearts for the new year. Gratitude replaces regret. Lessons are acknowledged. Hopes are quietly formed. For Filipinos, Christmas isn't isolated. It's part of a cycle of renewal. The joy experience becomes fuel for facing what comes next. This emotional continuity makes the season feel complete. It doesn't escape reality. It strengthens people to return to it. Christmas becomes a bridge between what was and what could be. What truly defines a Filipino Christmas is not perfection, wealth, or spectacle, it's presence. Being there, listening, sharing space. Whether it's a loud gathering or a quiet night, what matters is connection. In a world increasingly distracted, Filipinos choose attention over absence. Christmas becomes an annual reminder of priorities. It recenters life around relationships, not achievements. This choice, repeated year after year, shapes how the holiday feels, deeply human, deeply warm, deeply real. So when people ask why Filipinos seem to have the happiest Christmas, the answer lies in what they protect. Values over appearances, people over things, meaning over excess. Christmas in the Philippines is not perfect, but it is intentional. Every song, every meal, every tradition carries purpose. It's not about escaping life's hardships, but facing them together with hope. And that collective strength, built quietly, consistently, turns an ordinary holiday into something extraordinary. In the end, Filipino Christmas is less about the date and more about the spirit carried forward. Long after the lights are taken down and the songs fade, the feeling remains. The warmth, the kindness, the sense of belonging. That's why Christmas in the Philippines doesn't end in December. It lives on in how people treat one another all year long. And perhaps that's the real reason it feels so joyful. Because for Filipinos, Christmas isn't just something you celebrate. It's something you live. Thanks for watching.